years ago.
I think all these guys
That
died.
time, every step meant incredible hardship.
And they just found their camera footage later on. These guys never got off. Very Vinland Saga. Torsten. Nice. Yeah, this is one of the best docos to smoke weed too. I don't anymore, but believe me.
The first thing that
Greatest
caught
hits.
my eye upon landing was the humongous bus and its driver.
We're clearing the apron now, thank you.
I think we all do natural. Everyone else will know what I'm talking about when we get there. What's up, Willis? This, yeah.
Driving the Terror bus. It's one of 7 in the world, weighs 67,000 pounds, and is the largest vehicle on the continent.
What do you do when you're back home? Are you a taxi driver?
I'm not a taxi driver at home. Before I came to Antarctica, I was actually a banker in Colorado. And after 2 years there, I changed my pace a little bit and decided to help the people of Guatemala, so I joined the Peace Corps. And there I worked in small business development. Just realized that the world's not all about money. Where I lived in Guatemala was in the northern part. It's a Quechua Mayan village, 99% Mayan, and therefore nobody spoke Spanish. I had to learn the Mayan dialect, Quechua. When I first moved to Chisec, I was just out on a normal walk, and before I knew it, I had 6 people with machetes chasing me down, wanting to talk to me. Turns out, the little brother told them I was there to steal children. I was, however, not there to steal children. They took me back to my judge and jury, was the 14-year-old boy in the town who could speak both Spanish and Quechua. Luckily, they let me go, and we ended up being great friends over the 2 years.
What an absolutely fascinating story. So basically, this doco, I'm going to say it again, really drives home the point. What is the kind of person who chooses, of all the things you can do in life, to move to Antarctica and live and work there? This is not your average NPC. This is not your average normie. Also, Llama Todd, welcome in. Lazy, don't get kicked out of your dorm. But anyway, you can see where I'm going with this. You think this is more interesting than you think it's going to be. At least it was more interesting than I thought it was going to be, and I was sucked in for the rest of my life to this guy's way of thinking. Let's go.
The jury acquitted you.
I was acquitted. I made it out of there.
Thank you, Eben.
But it could have been dangerous.
It is, and you know, a story not too long ago is a lady was just taking a picture of a child, and you know, the same type of group of people with machetes, and she wasn't so fortunate. She didn't make it out.
What happened to her?
She was killed
by
machete.
Oh my God! Yes, well, yes.
Approaching McMurdo
that
Station, the largest American base, in fact the largest settlement in Antarctica.
Right there is Captain Scott's hut, built in 1902.
During the austral summer, about 1,000 people live here, experiencing a strange state. 5 months of no night time.
That still weirds the fuck out of me.
McMurdo serves as a logistical hub and provides fixed laboratory facilities for research. All the decisions about scientific projects are the domain of my host, the National Science Foundation. Day-to-day logistics are run by a defense contractor. I had been told by some disgruntled former inhabitants that they ran things in the spirit of a correctional facility.
5 months of the sun never ever going down. That's
actually, they
weird.
were decent people, just too concerned for my personal safety. Of course, I did not expect pristine landscapes and man living in blissful harmony with fluffy penguins. But I was still surprised to find McMurdo looking like an ugly mining town filled with caterpillars and noisy construction sites.
It's humans. What are you gonna do? This guy is fascinating. Just listen to this guy talk. This guy's an absolute space cadet. From my memory, at least.
Who are the people who drive the heavy machinery, and what brought them to Antarctica?
Oh, it's a long story. I've explored many different lens of the mind and many worlds of ideas. And I started, before I even knew how to read and write, my grandmother was reading the Odyssey and the Iliad to me. So I started my journey in my fantasy before I even knew the means of accomplishing it. But my mind and my psyche was ready for it. I was already traveling with Odysseus and with the Argonauts and to those strange and amazing lands. And that always stayed with me, that fascination of the world, and that I fell in love with the world. And it's been very powerful, and it's been with me this whole time.
And how does it happen that we are encountering each other here at the end of the world?
I think that that's a logical place to find each other, because this place works almost as a natural selection for people that have this intention to jump off the margin of the map. And we all meet here, where all the lines of the map converge. There is no point that is south of the South Pole.
What an interesting conclusion to reach.
I think there is a fair amount of the population here which are full-time travelers and part-time workers. So yes, those are the professional dreamers. They dream all the time, and I think through them the great cosmic dreams come into fruition, because the universe dreams through our dreams. And I think that there is many different ways for the reality to bring itself forward, and dreaming is definitely one of those ways.
I do love what he says. That, yeah, he's like, well, in a way, it's a natural conclusion that we end up meeting here in Antarctica, because this is, if you're trying to get away from literally everyone and everything, and you want to go as far as you can possibly be, this is the place to be. You know, this is basically the edge of the world. It's not going to be the Arctic. Still too close to too many people. Antarctica, you're really going off the edge of the map here. You're going real. Like, Australia is already insane. When you think about it, Australia is... There's like Europe and Asia and all that. Then you get like Southeast Asia and like India and South Asia. Then you get Papua New Guinea, which is like Jurassic Park land. And then below that, you get Australia. That's actually really, really weird that Australia in its developed parts looks like the UK with the color turned up. It's actually way further away from the world than it should be. And then below Australia, you have Antarctica, which is another very strange part of the world, because in my mind, it's just a big lump of ice. But what it actually is it's actually a gigantic continent. It's a gigantic landmass just covered in ice. And back during the dinosaur times, this would have been as tropical and temperate and humid as anything else, which is why it's such a strange part of the world, because what the hell is there? What the hell are we going to find there? You know, it's like the last, there's the deep ocean, and then there's Antarctica, which is just, I guess, the last great undiscovered, forgotten, unexplored continent, and probably too hard to explore, because it's so just, it's still to this day still unbelievably deadly unless you have the right equipment and the right stuff. So Jurassic Parkland, Cat Pig, well, you know, the people, I haven't seen that. So we're below Dino Crisis. We are Land of Shadows where Lost Souls converge. Yeah, something like that. So anyway, don't let me yap on. Let's continue the doco. What an interesting person. Like, what a weird part of the world this is. Also, it's been 15 years since I've sat down and watched this whole thing, so appreciate you guys being here for this. Yeah, the music's sick. Like, I've seen a clip of this now and again, but the whole thing, long time. He's right, though.
As banal as McMurdo appears, it turns out it is filled with these professional dreamers.
At night, laying in my bed here in McMurdo, I am again walking across the top of B-15. Might as well be on a piece of the South Pole, but yet I'm actually adrift in the ocean, a vagabond floating in the ocean. And below my feet, I can feel the rumble of the iceberg. I can feel the change, the cry of the iceberg as it's screeching and as it's bouncing off the seabed, as it's steering the ocean currents, as it's beginning to move north. I can feel that sound coming up through the bottoms of my feet and telling me that this iceberg is coming north. That's my dream.
Fortitude, I haven't heard of that.
So here I'm sitting in this lovely warm lab, and just outside is the environment that Scott and Shackleton first faced when they came here about 100 years ago. Unlike Scott and Shackleton, who viewed the ice as this sort of static monster that had to be crossed to get to the South Pole, we scientists now are able to see the ice as a dynamic living entity that is sort of producing change, like the icebergs that I study. For me, it's been a wild ride. First of all, I found out that the iceberg that I came down to study not only was larger than the iceberg that sank the Titanic, it was not only larger than the Titanic itself, but it was larger than the country that built the Titanic. That's pretty big. This is B-15. So what we see here is the White Cliff. It's about 150 feet tall. So that means that there's over 1,000 feet of ice below the waterline. This iceberg is so big that the water that it contains would run the flow of the River Jordan for 1,000 years. It's so big that the water that is inside of it would run the River Nile for 75 years.
That's what she said. No, it is pretty impressive.
This is a little bit of video that we shot when we were flying up to the iceberg. It looks big and it looms above us.
That's
Even if
Apple
we're on
PC.
an aircraft flying above the iceberg is always above us.
Look, if it melts, we're doomed, but I have a solution. We just move there. It's all land. If all the ice melts, we just move to Antarctica. Yeah, we'll lose a few coastal areas, but look at all this free land. It would be a new gold rush. So, problem solved. There, I just solved climate change.
It's above us because it's a mystery that we don't understand.
Oh, I'm sorry, let's not fuck about.
Here's a picture of what it looked like once we had arrived in the center of the iceberg. We put out our instruments. Now we're going to have an opportunity to monitor how the iceberg drifts north. They're so big, there's an element of fear. We don't know really what's going to come ahead when they eventually begin to melt.
Yeah, that'd be fucked, because it's hard to really sense the scale of that, but that'd be something like the height of a skyscraper. And there's something about the enormity of nature, you know, which is what she said. No, there's something about like the enormity of some natural phenomena, which is also what she... I'm sorry, I can't... I will get this sentence out. I will get this thought out, all right? There's something about the enormity of some things in nature that is like kind of like shocking or almost intimidating when you first see it. And that's what she said. I can't stop it. God damn it. There's no way I can get this sentence out without making that joke. It's too hard. Which is also what she said. Oh, fuck.
In the ocean beyond
Anyway.
Antarctica.
Yeah, global warming isn't real, Bang. Look at all that ice. Oh, fuck. Anyway, let's continue, or else we'll be here all night.
Here is a time-lapse sort of animation of satellite imagery of the sea ice and of the continent of Antarctica. And what you see are three shades of gray. This sort of lighter shade of gray is the sea ice. And these little bits and pieces
What about
here,
50 shades?
These are
I'm sorry.
Titanic icebergs. This little fellow right here He's not a very big iceberg compared to these other ones, but that guy there might be the size of the island of Sicily in the Mediterranean.
And
It's
he's
like
not
a
wrong.
little tiny bumblebee zipping around in a circle, happy
So, oh, look at that little shrimp, but he's just like the size of, yeah, like, I don't know, Naples.
to be in the warm waters as it's drifting north.
Things in Antarctica
I'd
are
be happy
so huge.
to see
it's
Antarctica
nuts.
as a static, monolithic environment, a cold monolith of ice, sort of the way the people back in the past used to see it. But now, our comfortable thought about Antarctica is over. Now we're seeing it as a living being that's dynamic, that's producing change, change that it's broadcasting to the rest of the world.
And it is quite strange to think of, like, icebergs the size of literal countries and islands just floating around, just dynamically, just moving around on their own. So, I mean, it's all fake anyway, but you know.
Possibly in response to what the world is broadcasting down to Antarctica. Certainly on a gut level, it's going to be frightening to watch what happens to these babies once they get north.
Stop smiling so much. What do you know? Why are you smiling? Sorry, he's fine. I'll allow it.
What environment would the men of Shackleton's expedition encounter if they returned in the next life? Shackleton, seen here, would finally make it to the pole, a quest he had to abandon a mere 100 miles short of it. Would there be any ice left? Would he have to construct an artificial Antarctica in a studio and try to find his route through papier-mâché icebergs?
Oh, so fake. CGI ruins everything. Movies before CGI. Look, there's strengths and weaknesses, all right? There's strengths and weaknesses. But, yeah, Stoic, you're damn straight I'm still going. I just think it's insane that these guys attempted this 100 years ago. Like, you try doing this today, you're still going to need state-of-the-art technology and a shit ton of money. The fact these guys tried this in 1902 is just nuts.
Would our only modern recourse be to create ice with machines?
This is Frosty Boy here in McMurdo. It's the equivalent of ice cream in the States.
Why would
It's a
you
really
ever
big
want
hit.
ice cream in
Everybody
Antarctica, though?
loves it. It's what they go for 3 or 4 times.
I feel like that would make me,
Yeah,
like, that
it
would
has
put me
the
off
texture
it.
of ice cream, but it's not quite ice cream. There's a lot of crises that happen in McMurdo when the Frosty Boy runs out. It's bad news. Words circulate everywhere throughout McMurdo when Frosty Boy goes down. It's really good stuff.
From the very first day, we just wanted to get out of this place. McMurdo has climate-controlled housing facilities, its own radio station, a bowling alley, and abominations such as an aerobic studio and yoga classes.
Only Werner Herzog could say a sentence like abominations, like aerobics classes, and yoga studios. He's just so repulsed at the idea of something so modern in something that's just so in a place like this that's so raw and natural. I love that. I love that about his way of thinking.
It has an ATM machine.
It even has an ATM machine. Well, to be fair, I mean, you know, of course money's still going to be a thing here. All right, whatever, hippie Herzog.
For all these reasons, I wanted to get out into the field as soon as possible.
To be fair, you come to Antarctica, you don't expect you're just going to be sitting in a shithole like this. But he does make the point that as shitty as it looks, the people you talk to here are fascinating because it's not a normal, and no NPC or normie ends up here by accident. Basically everyone here is a player character. Everyone here is someone who has made a very deliberate choice to be here for whatever reason. So.
But before we could do that, it is mandatory that every inhabitant of McMurdo attends survival school before being allowed to leave.
Yeah, it's a questing hub. It's sort of like a...
This 2-day exercise is called Happy Camper.
It's DLC. This is Shadow of Antarctica, all right? This is the DLC of the world coming to Antarctica. This is endgame shit.
Students learn to build survival trenches and igloos.
You don't come here as a beginner. It's an expansion.
You have to sleep in your own construction.
As long as I end up with 10 fingers and 10 toes at the end, it's all good.
It's Snow Trail. You're in Snow Trail, but there's no Wook Lamart, so it's better than that. You cannot come here as a beginner. You will just literally die. You'll die.
God, sorry.
We always need to break ourselves into 2 different groups now. We're gonna brief this group over here for the burning vehicle scenario first. Then we're gonna come back over and we're gonna brief the bucket head whiteout scenario for everybody else. Essentially, we're trying to create conditions where we wouldn't be able to see. The wind is so severe, the snow is blowing so severely, very, very cold. Exposed skin might actually create frostbite instantaneously. The winds are so severe you could be blown off of your stance of just simply standing out. And visibility is pretty much none. You can't see flag to flag. You might not be able to see your hand in front of your own face. Therefore, what we're going to do as a simulator is incorporate a bucket
This is such a funny test.
A whiteout condition to a point where I can barely hear myself. You can't necessarily even hear me.
Look, it's a good training method, all right? You'll see.
Right now. So that's the whole idea behind the bucket head, is to actually be a whiteout simulator, and it works really quite well.
Dude, this is Dark Souls,
some of the
but in the
parameters
snow.
for this are going to be, we're going to start inside the sea ice hut. I said I was going to go to the bathroom, and in fact I did. I needed to go to the bathroom, right?
It's Ashes of Arian. It's Ashes of Antarctica.
Gone for quite some time now, though.
TS3 DLC.
10, 15, all of a sudden 20 minutes. You're like, First off, where's the chocolate? Second off, where's Kevin?
Are you with us, number 1?
Number 1 is up.
The goal is clear: to find the instructor next to the outhouse.
Dark Souls 2. God, it's not that hard. Jesus.
Number 2's out. Number 3 out. Number 3 out.
All right, number 1, you're gonna have to walk in one simple direction, and I'm gonna keep the rope. Pull on one rope for me.
4 out.
It looks pretty good. They seem to be heading in the right direction.
5 out. 6 out.
But very soon the front man veers off course, pulling everyone else with him.
And then you're all fucked. You're all fucked. And all they have to do is just find that guy over there. But I think it's a good little training simulator because this is actually what it would be like in a full major snowstorm in Antarctica. You just, as they say, you can't even see a hand in front of your face. It's easy for it to go this wrong.
Anybody out there? I'm here, number 3 is here.
And you're right, it's worse than Dark Souls, because if you dive roll, you're going to get covered in snow, and that's actually going to do dots. It's going to DPS you over time. So. Oh, absolutely wrecked. That's it. That's it. You're all dead. You're all dead. You all just died. That's the results. I look different, Cluster. That's because I'm wearing a different shirt. The first time in ever.
They've done, come back to a hut and come up with a new game plan, or if they just keep going down that cascading error phenomenon where one mistake leads into another mistake, which leads into a third, and it just gets really bad.
Oh my god. Sounds like me in Tekken.
Number 1. Number 1, don't pull on that. That's the line going back to the hut. I got the end. Okay, back to the hut. Back to the hut. Back to the hut.
But rather than pulling everyone in, last man first along the rope, they drift completely off course.
They just get absolutely wrecked. Oh, that's it, folks. Congratulations, you've all died. But it shows you why these training things are important.
We need to go left. That's the piston boy. You don't know where he's standing though, so left might be different for him. Correct.
Number 2.
Oh my god, it's like chat delay.
For most of our time here, we had postcard pretty weather conditions. This was frustrating because I loathed the sun both on my celluloid and my skin. So it almost came as a...
What does it say about a man when you come to Antarctica and you're like, oh, I hate it, too much sun? Jesus. I mean, it's classic Werner Herzog though, so I like him. Anyway, let's see what we got.
Relief when a few days later, the weather suddenly changed.
Oh my god, classic Herzog. It's like, oh, finally. It's like miserable and horrible again, just the way I want it.
The storm soon broke, and we were allowed to venture out of McMurdo for the first time.
I was gonna say, that's Antarctica. Right. Oh,
We
totally
set out
craven.
on snowmobiles. In front of us, miles and miles of frozen ocean. We were heading toward a field camp of scientists who study seals.
Oh, this is crazy, man.
It
This
was
has
amazing to consider that a mere 6 feet under us was the expanse of the Ross Sea.
This is some of the craziest shit I've seen. In fact, maybe I'll try and pull a... Oh, yeah, no, listen to this, man. This is nuts. It is crazy, you know, just 6 feet below you is just the ocean. It's like a continent that also has tons of just this ice. Oh, no, we're not clubbing seals, you fucking psychopath, Jesus. Oh, look at them, they're so fat and squishy. Oh. Oh, it's like Billy. So fat. No, I love seals. They're one of my favorite animals, man. Like, how can you not love that? Look at him. They're like big fat water dogs. Just built like pillows.
Scientists here are particularly interested in the feeding cycle of the Weddell seal. In just a few short weeks, pups grow rapidly, while mothers lose some 40% of their body weight.
Wait. Surely there's a reason behind this. Oh, yeah.
Bagging the seal's head keeps the animal calm as the scientists extract a milk sample.
It's fine. It's scientific, mate. It's fine. No, just the bagging of the seal. Okay, I forgot this happens, but, you know. Oh, so it's fine.
Well, this really is quite a wonderful group of animals to work on. Weddell seals in particular, you could see they're very big.
Back on its head. I
Very
totally forgot
strong,
about that.
And yet they allow us to work with them. They're not very aggressive, nor are they very timid. Even though they struggle somewhat when you have them in a bag or in a net, when you release them, they lie down. There's the mother behind us who we just worked on, and she's just lying quietly with her pup. We've had pups start to nurse within a couple of minutes of releasing them. So even though they are a bit perturbed at being handled, they recover very quickly from it and seem to behave normally after that. And really, that's the ideal for us, is to have an animal species that we can work on that will not be so disturbed by the work that's being done on them that they behave abnormally, because we want to know how these animals survive under these conditions.
Imagine you're just a seal and a bloke just comes up with a bag on your head and milks you. And it's like, no, that's fine.
Milk samples
The
that may
seal's like, what
ultimately
the
provide
fuck are you doing?
insight into human weight
Oh my
loss.
god.
This was just collected. It's still warm from the animal. So if you see that.
For science.
See, it's like, you know, it's
My
almost
God,
like pouring
chat,
wax.
Jesus.
It's really something else. And if I let this cool down, I would get pretty pasty. I wouldn't be able to pour it like that at all.
Just don't let
So it's about
Homelander
body
over here,
temperature
alright?
right now.
Jesus.
The milk of the Weddell seal is about 45% fat. It's about 60% dry matter, 65% dry matter. It's very, very high in protein, about 10 to 12% protein. It contains no lactose at all, which is very unusual.
And there's many things about this place that are very unusual. And one of the things that I find very fascinating is how quiet it gets. It's the quietest place. When the wind is down, when there's no wind, it wakes you up in the middle of the night because there's no wind and there's no sound at all.
Listen.
And if you walk out on the ice, you can hear your own heartbeat. That's how still it is. And you can hear the ice crack, and it sounds like there's somebody walking behind you, but it's just the ice. It's sort of, you know, these little stress cracks moving all the time, because we're actually right here, we're on ocean, we're not on solid ground. So, and you can hear the seals. You can hear the seals caw, and it's the most amazing sound. They make these really inorganic sounds. They sound like, I don't know, Pink Floyd or something. They don't sound like mammals, they definitely don't sound like animals. It's really out of this world, I can say that.
You get used to a surface being solid, and you sort of think in your mind that you're on land. And then all of a sudden you'll hear the sound coming up through the floor. You'll hear the chucks and the whistles
and the booms.
And the booms that come, which are, you realize there's a whole world underneath you. The seals are moving and competing and fighting beneath you under the ice while you're here sleeping in a tent or working in a lab hut.
Fucking crazy does that sound, mate? That was always one of my favorite clips from this documentary. It was like, Jesus. I remember thinking, like, is this the planet I've been living on the entire time? Like, what are these alien noises coming out of these Antarctic seals? That is absolutely nuts. Looks like ray gun breakdancing. My God. God, I think they're a bit better than her. Jeebus. When's the Antarctica IRL stream? That would be the IRL stream of the century. But no, that's not going to happen anytime soon. It does sound very Pink Floydish, though. Oxo the Squirrel Rage. Oh my God. It is very alien, though, Link. The dinosaurs died, but those fat loafs survived. Well, actually, Elixir, dinosaurs, I think, from what I know, well, like from what I imagine from the fossil record, their bodies weren't adapted. They were hyper adapted to, say, like humid, hot-ish temperate climates, but in terms of like snow, cold, or seasonal weather, they can't do shit against that. That's where a big fat fluffy bloated seal comes in, because it can survive temperatures. You can survive freezing temperatures, same as like grizzly bears and so on and so forth. YFan, welcome in. Dinosaurs are birds. Okay, whatever, Mr. Scientist. I mean, well, apparently they actually are, but you know, it's like those weird B movies from the 80s. Dude, a lot of the movies that we know, honestly, all our favorite science fiction movies originally would have started in documentary and science. Whether it's The Last of Us, which is a good modern example coming from the cordyceps fungus, or whether it's, say, the Alien movies with Ridley Scott, which come from the bugs that lay their eggs inside of other bugs that hatch out. All that is ideas in nature, but what if this is being done to humans? That's literally all it is. Alien from The Last of Us, everything is inspired by nature. And I thought Albert Einstein had a pretty good quote, which was, if you don't know what to do, if you're kind of stuck in life, just go and get out in nature. Nature has all the answers. And I gotta say, he hasn't been wrong yet when I've done that. Whenever I'm just kind of like, oh my God, my head, I'm thinking so much about content of the stream. I'm like, wait a minute. I've been inside too long. And I go outside and I get myself outside, just be around plants, animals, just the sun, water, just the open air, just fresh air, touching grass, as they say. And it's like, okay, all right. I've reoriented and calibrated my brain back to how actually everything is. And now I can come back to the internet and just be relaxed once again. So yeah, it's like that. Anyway, this guy is quite an interesting person as well. Let's see what he's got to say. I can't remember if he's interesting or funny. Being Herzog, probably both. Outside, I mean, my God. Yeah, that's why I'm streaming right now. So
We soon returned to the prosaic world of today's McMurdo. David Pacheco works in maintenance and construction as a journeyman plumber. He prides himself on his heritage. He is part Apache, but has claims to yet another lineage.
It's funny, but I'm revealing my hands, and they are very distinct. And I was told by my doctor who operated me that it is from the Aztec and the Incas royal family. An anthropologist told me that, and one of our daughters is very similar, but everywhere I go, I try to find somebody, see? And I can turn it around too if you want to see it this way. It's very distinct, the line here. And I was at awe when they told me it was from the
I wouldn't be a king.
Family of the Indians.
I don't have it.
When you work, with which fingers do you work best or point best?
I don't know if I should say this. It's funny, but in school I used to not reach the chalkboard with this, so I used to point with this. And they called my father in and said that I was being a bad boy, but I still have the habit of pointing like that. I have a long rib cage. He could not find the gallbladder. I have a long rib cage like the Aztecs used to have, I guess. And if you can come to Antarctica, please do. Plus, be aware of global warming. It's real. I'm a green person. I'm as green as I can be. I build adobe homes, solar homes. I'm a contractor back home too, but it's so hard for a small minority to make it. But
okay, whatever, globalist shill, get out of here. I mean, you know, we're not going to have that. Look, we're not going to have that conversation here, all right? It is what it is. It was like 2008. No one cares. It is what it is. Now, this... I know that some of you are doing this right now and trying to test if you are descended from Aztec kings. I know that you are doing this right now while you're watching this stream. I know that at least one of you has done this while watching this right now. I know. Especially you. You know who you are. I like this guy though.
Spirit, the fire of my ancestors.
This is a very Werner Herzog thing to do. To keep the camera running on someone for just a bit too long until they kind of like just don't know what to do, and then they just start
Our next
just doing weird shit or behaving normally.
Kilometers over frozen ocean.
Very Werner Herzog thing to do. And if you ever watch his other documentaries, you'll see that. Someone will be standing there and they'll think they're done, and then they'll just start doing weird shit. It's very unusual. Most filmmakers don't have the confidence to kind of just let the camera just sit and run on someone or even use that footage. But Werner's not built like other people. Helsing, I got you. Damn straight. Evan, Link, here you go. Ladies love this man. Well, you know.
We were heading from Ross Island in the direction of mainland Antarctica. The empty interior beyond these mountains is larger in size than continental North America.
Whatever.
The vast majority of it is covered in a layer of ice 9,000 feet thick.
Nanoon, thank you. Welcome in. Appreciate
We are
it.
heading for New Harbor, a diving camp which lies on the coastline of the ocean. To the right is the frozen sea where they dive. The camp itself is built on firm ground.
It's strange because we don't really have parts of the world like
We
this
were
where
welcomed by my friend Henry Kaiser, a musician and expert diver whose underwater footage it was that brought me to this place.
yeah, we don't have parts of the world
We
where
had
parts are
arrived
frozen
at an
all the
opportune
time.
time and went straight to this shelter which protects a primary diving hole next to New Harbor Camp.
It can be seasonal, but here in Antarctica, it's just forever.
Sam Bowser is
Eben,
the head
really?
of the
Oh my god, I'm so
scientific
happy to hear
field
that.
team.
Thank you. Thank you.
We found him in a pensive mood.
Sam Bowser, this is a special day for you.
Well, I think everyone should stop when they've reached the point where they've done what they've wanted to do, and today's probably going to be my last Antarctic dive. I think we've accomplished at least I've accomplished what I've set out to do here.
Whether working here would be awesome or not, I think it really depends on the kind of person you are and where you are at life. Like, honestly, at times I've thought about this. At times I've thought, is there a point where whatever I'm doing in the real world, or, you know, the city world, the internet world, it reaches a point where I'm like, all right, I actually kind of need to do a hard reset, but also a semi-religious, I don't know, personal philosophical voyage. And Antarctica is one of the places I've thought about. How long I would actually last there, or I don't know. But I could just get there on day one and after a week be like, you know what? Fuck this place. I'm getting out of here. Get me back to where the hookers and the coke are, you know, and all that. But I don't know. It is an interesting thing. It's almost like a modern version of, it's like a modern Western version of, maybe a modern industrial version of, say, being in ancient China and just being like, fuck this, and going and living on a mountain somewhere and just practicing kung fu or meditating for like 5 years or something, you know, and then you come back to the real world. And I don't know. It's really unusual to think about. I don't know if I'd want to live here, but I think everyone has kind of thought about just kind of fucking off and going somewhere else and chilling out for 6 months, maybe a year, maybe more, getting their heads straight, really, really, really understanding themselves and the world very deeply, and then coming back and doing their thing. So I don't know. Friendly, welcome back. Penguins, Ace. Oh, we'll get there. Believe that. Dicko. Yes, I don't know if I would drink the seal milk. Okay, but anyway, we'll continue.
And it's time to pass the ball off to the next generation of biologists, I think. So it is a bit of a special day.
I had heard that he was also a great science fiction fan.
The creatures that are down there that are like science fiction creatures. They range in the way that they would gobble you up from slime-type blobs, but creepier than classic science fiction blobs. These would have long tendrils that would ensnare you, and as you tried to get away from them, you just become more and more ensnared by your own actions. And then after you would be frustrated and exhausted, then this creature would start to move in and take you apart. So that's one example of one of the creatures. Then there are other types of worm-type things with horrible mandibles and jaws and just bits to rend your flesh.
I wonder if he's played Subnautica. Sounds like he's describing that game. But he goes on to make an interesting point that I've thought about a lot. And I don't know. I think Werner Herzog phrases it quite well. We'll get there.
It really is a violent, horribly violent world that is obscure to us because we're encased in neoprene and, you know, and we're much larger than that world. So it doesn't really affect us.
Yeah, it's like insects on land. You know, when you go to, say, the insect level, the microcosmos, these things are literally like alien xenomorphs, queen aliens. They're just the most horrific animals ever. They're absolutely no threat to us because we are literally hundreds of thousands of times their size and weight. We're going to just like, oh, it's an ant. But at their level, terrifying.
Down, miniaturized into that world. It'd be a horrible place to be. Just horrible.
And this is a world earlier than human beings. Do you think that the human race and other mammals fled in panic from the oceans and crawled on solid land to get out of this?
Yeah, I think undoubtedly that's exactly the driving force that caused us to leave the horrors behind, to grow and evolve into larger creatures to escape what's horribly violent at the miniaturized scale.
And it makes sense. I mean, you know, whether you believe in evolution or not, I think, like, you know, the theory, I think it makes sense. You know, you start from like single cell organisms that cluster together into multicellular organisms as a means of survival that become more complex animals. But as life in the ocean is, it's an absolute horror fest where you're literally being hunted in 3 dimensions 24/7 by literally flying hellfish until and as we've seen in time lapses, nature, animals and living creatures try to get away from danger. So naturally, as over millions of years the animals, the nature is trying to get away from the horror, it eventually starts coming onto land, and eventually over hundreds of millions of years, you know, you eventually get what we have today. But it's interesting to me that sharks have been longer in the fossil record than trees. That's a really disturbing fact. I think fungi got onto land first, then plants, then insects, which have a symbiotic nature with plants in a way that we don't. Then you get, I guess, fish, which become amphibians like frogs and salamanders. Those become lizards or reptiles. Those deviate into, or not become, but they branch off, because we still have frogs and salamanders and stuff. Then they branch off from lizards into mammals and all that, and branch off, and so on and so forth. Now, all that's obviously complete bullshit, because the Earth is actually only 1 year old. Sorry, it's only 6,000 years old. And, you know, according to the scientists, you know, Bigfoot had sex with King Kong, and then in 1 generation had you. Specifically you. Yeah, so, yeah, whatever, scientists. But, you know, let's play along. Let's play along with the official Illuminati explanation. Let's continue with this. So,
yeah.
Anyway, let's see what he has to say.
The water under the ice is -2 degrees Celsius.
That keeps us insulated from the cold.
It's quite interesting. Old sharks and modern sharks, they're not the same, but the basic body blueprint is roughly the same. Sharks are older than Saturn's rings, Zekken. That's horrifying. Also, what's up?
Open it up. Yep. Ready? Yep.
There's an interesting point he makes about this guy here. Yes, Wee Man, the guy narrating this is the guy who gives the Mandalorian his mission. I want you to go and find baby Yoda. Yes, let me see the baby. After the Empire took control of the galaxy, life has improved in every conceivable metric. It's that guy. That guy narrates this. He is one of the most fascinating human beings and thinkers ever. And believe me, this is the first time I showed one of his documentaries one of his documentaries on stream. We'll be seeing more. Believe that.
Your dive operation time right now is should be getting called back at about 2:30.
Oh, I must finish the Outer Wilds DLC. I won't, because if I have to play that game for 1 second more, I'm gonna put my phone in my ass. No, it's a good game. It's just like I can't play that game anymore, because I have to put in 5 hours of effort to get like 5 seconds of dialogue, like 5 seconds of a sentence that tells me how things 5 planets over, how to open a door on a planet 5 million miles. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. It's good for what it is. Just it's not for me. It's not for me. So.
To me, the divers look like astronauts floating in space. But their work is extremely dangerous. They are diving without tethers to give them more free range. But here you can't trust a compass. So close to the magnetic pole, the needle would point straight up or straight down.
It's crazy. You're so close to the South Pole, you can't even trust a compass anymore. It just pulls it endlessly in that direction, or just like fucks it up.
Have to find your way back to the exit hole, or you are trapped under the ceiling of ice.
Oh, it'd be such a shit way to die. That's what I like about this doco. Antarctica seems quite bland and uninteresting, but this doco has a good way of driving home how unusual and extraordinary it is. The fuck is that? Looks like my ex-wife! I love the choice of music as well. It's heaps weird. Can't they look at the North Star? No, because they're literally under thick ice. Oh my god. Oh my god. How alien are our sea creatures, man? They're literal monsters. I should call her. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'll stop. Oh god. Oh. I think me and Werner Herzog might be a bad combination when you really think about it. Dung eater. The loathsome dung eater coral. I love Herzog's music, like choice of music as well. It's just so unusual. It's chill, but it's not. Subnautica. If you have not played Subnautica, but you want to play an ocean game, I honestly think it is I think it's the best out there. Abzu is great.
Selected some areas.
Abzu is great. It's more of an indie, and I haven't played Dave the Diver yet, so I can't really weigh in. Anyway, let's see what this guy's got to say.
So I selected some areas that have the
Appreciate that,
freeform
Torsten.
in it, and they're the ones we're interested in right now.
Let me put it this way, Torsten. I've been banned on Twitch before. In 2020, I got banned for 2 weeks because in VR chat, I did a stand-up comedy gig, and the third time they asked me back, I ran out of jokes. So I made some that they were boomer. All right, they were acceptable in real life, but I knew they were over the line. And I got banned for 2 weeks on Twitch for these jokes. No, I'm not going to repeat what those 2 jokes were on stream, all right? Maybe if we ever see each other in person, maybe one day. But I knew where the line was. They didn't tell me what they were, but I knew exactly what it was I'd gotten banned for. So, yes, and ever since then, I've known where the line is. So somehow I'm still not banned, but I also sort of know what I'm definitely not allowed to say. So it's fine. It's fine. I told them to my auntie, my boomer auntie, and my normie cousin. They were like, oh, those? Oh, I know those. I'm like, yeah, but it's not allowed here. So anyway, let's continue.
To find out if they're carnivores, whether or not they eat shrimp-like creatures, multicellular creatures. And also, I found a few of the urchins that have, I think, they're the ones that have a parasitic worm that lives in their anus. It's a pretty beautiful scarlet worm, but it must be a horrible way to make a life.
It's not beautiful at all. It really is my ex-wife. Hush.
You gentlemen, science is agreed that unless something is done and done quickly, man as the dominant species of life on Earth will be extinct within a year.
Sam Bowser likes to show doomsday science fiction films to the researchers. Many of them express grave doubts about our long-ranging presence on this planet. Nature, they predict, will regulate us.
Stay in your homes, I repeat. Stay in your homes.
Well, I mean, nature will always be around. I don't think you can really kill that off. It's just life finds a way. Human beings could probably die off though. But I don't think you're getting rid of nature anytime soon. You're not turning this world into Mad Max Fist of the North Star. You're just not. Life has survived far worse than anything we could possibly do to it. Something like 6 or 7 times. According to the official Sphere Cut Globe Tard story by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Obviously the world is like 5,000 years ago, so don't listen to me.
We may be witnesses to a biblical prophecy come true, and there shall be destruction and darkness come up in creation, and the beast shall reign over the earth.
What an actor.
Yes, the earth.
What an awesome boomer
This is
actor.
just the
Holy
flower
shit,
part.
mate.
The body is somewhere in the dirt over here.
Look, no one
All
goes
that
to
the divers
Antarctica to
had
get
brought
laid,
back
all right?
From the ocean floor were a few
That's how you not get laid. When you've given up on getting laid, that's when you go to Antarctica, which is fine. It's fine. It's not what it's for.
spoonfuls of sand containing the strange single-celled creatures the scientists are studying here. They are known as tree foraminifera, primordial single-celled organisms. They branch out in the shape of trees. The branches give off pseudopodia, microscopic false feet that gather and assemble grains of sand into a protective shell around the twigs.
These are the pseudopodia that are secreted by foraminifera. They're long, thin, tendril-like projections. What the foram does is it wakes up, sends out its pseudopods, and then just grabs every particle in its environment and pulls them in toward its body. There's a certain pattern to the way that they sort the particles. They can select particular grains out of everything in the environment and just end up with them. They're beautiful masons.
Could that be a very early appearance of intelligence? I say it with great care.
Yeah, I have to say it with great care too, because there are stories about how these particular organisms have fit into that debate. Turn of the last century, for example, there's a scientist, a British scientist named Heron Allen, who apparently during one of the debates, in one of the British societies, was pointing out the fact that every definition of intelligence that was being formulated could be fulfilled by these single-celled creatures. Borderline intelligence.
Oh, yeah, but can they make skibbity toilet? Didn't think so.
Yeah, at the single-celled level.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's a manifestation of the best of our abilities, really, the way that they build their shells. It's almost art.
Which is an uncomfortable question to grapple with, you know. But it's alright, we can make better memes than them, so it's fine. There was a Tinder match on Antarctica? My God. Everything reminds me of her. I'm sorry. Sorry. What? Shh. Serious. Philosophical. Appreciate that, Shadow. Good night. Take care of yourself. Better get a good coat. Certainly here, you could die in like, I don't know, 2 minutes of not being appropriately dressed in the cold. What I know. Wait a minute. Is that dynamite? It's been a while since I've seen this, so I've forgotten. But you know what? It looks like it might be. We might be about to see a very American moment. So go all the philosophies. Chills, brother. America! Ah, yes. Yes, it looks like a bit of freedom and democracy has been spread to that hole. In fact, that hole is so big, even I could fuck it. All right, I'm sorry. Fucking hell. Look, I know that some of you came here to enjoy a bit of philosophy and Antarctica nature documentaries with Werner Herzog, but you might have come to the wrong stream for that. You might have come to the wrong channel. Okay, we'll be serious now.
That the divers in their routine were not speaking at all. To me, they were like priests preparing for mass.
Now that's not a reach, what he just said. There is almost sort of a ritualistic, almost religious preparation for some of these things. Like what they're doing is so unusual and so rare.
Under the ice, the divers find themselves in a separate reality where space and time acquire a strange new dimension. Those few who have experienced the world under the frozen sky often speak of it as going down into the cathedral.
I would never do this. This is way, way, way too dangerous. Well, the tether allows... Sorry, the lack of tether allows you to just go further. But higher risk, high reward. Space Marines. Well, I mean, this is basically an alien environment right now. Like, this is not where you and I are sitting. You know, we're not going to go out our front doors and do anything like this. They're basically playing Subnautica in real life. How intense is that? Yeah, I can hear Titus laughing in the background. Heaps Ghost in the Shell. Sega? Oh my god. You know what this needs? It needs this sound. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I might have completely ruined this sequence by playing that song, but didn't that bring you back? Didn't that give you a bit of a member berry? Wasn't that a bit of a nostalgia moment for you right there? Oh my god. I imagine that's what would play in my mind if I was actually drowning. Jeebus. Oh god. Sorry, I'm so sorry, chat. That literally... Because the thing is, that song triggers terror from when you were 5 years old, and that's why it's so instinctive. That's why it's so brutal. Where's the air bubble? Where? How do I get the air bubble? What? Oh my god. I'll tell you what, that song I just played is scarier than a Reaper Leviathan. Alright, that's actually scarier. Reaper Leviathan is like, it's whatever, you know, I got attacked, but I can just reload. Sonic, you don't get infinite continues. You can't even save your game. Not until 3. So, you have far more to lose. Oh. That said, don't let me take away from this absolutely brilliant segment. This sequence is just incredible. Also, Titus41, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I mean, really, I'm not the star of the show here. I think that this what we're seeing right now, what Werner Herzog made,
Back from
what he
the
filmed,
strange world underwater, scientists study the samples.
I'm
One
just the
of
guy you're hanging out
foremost
with.
Scholars in the world in his field,
While we're
Dr.
watching this.
Pawlowski, studies the DNA sequences of foraminifera. What looks esoteric is in fact one of the fundamental questions about life on Earth. In the same way that cosmologists search for the origins of the universe, the scientists here are tracing back the evolution of life to its earliest stages. Sometimes the building blocks of the sequences all seem to fit.
Jan, what have you found today so far on the sample that we found?
3 new species.
3 new species.
3 new species in addition. That's fantastic.
This is from the Romeo site.
From the Romeo site. It's 1 small silver and 2 elongated ones. I don't know what it is. We have to do the DNA to really know it.
Is this a great moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you increase the known diversity of these types of creatures, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I would say discovering
It is
3 new
very
species
special.
is pretty good. Now, as you can see, the biologists see they look at this. This is how they can figure out a creature's 10-frame Punisher, what its launch move is, what its 15-frame launch move is, what its a strong mid is, as well as its low pokes. You know, this is how Tekken. This is literally how people who play Tekken see the world. They have absolutely no social lives at all, and I hate every single one of them. Unless I beat them, they're fine. But if you beat me, you disgust me. And I fucking hate you. Anyway, let's continue.
The known diversity of
Sorry, I'll stop.
creatures, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
You and your fucking 15-hit juggles and your heat smashes. Fuck you. And your wall carries.
Apologies to rock musicians everywhere.
Once
Hey, it's
the
Outer
importance
Wilds!
of the discovery has sunk in, Sam Bowser and his group plan to celebrate the event in their own way.
It's Outer Wilds, but better.
They are rehearsing for a late-night outdoor concert.
That is so cool. If I was there, if I knew how to play an instrument, you're damn straight I would smoke a lot of weed and I would just jam out in Antarctica. But I can't play an instrument, so it's completely wasted on me. Still though, look at this, man. Oh, this is peak boomerism. Oh, that is so cool. Giant squid. Skill cap, yeah. Friendly, yes, I did beat Outer Wilds. I'm done with it. I actually, Friendly, you missed it. I actually started and beat Slay the Princess after I did that. And now we're just chilling out with Werner Herzog because this is the shit. Anyway, let's continue. Almost SpongeBob music for a second. Oh, God. He should have just been like, I'm a goofy goober!
After the helicopter had dropped us off back at McMurdo, nobody was around.
And then the man-child played a parody song from the SpongeBob movie, a children's movie who for some reason a 45-year-old man was watching.
That's literally what would happen if that happened, so.
The sundial showed that it was close to 1 a.m. It did not feel like night, so we had a look around. This unobtrusive building had raised my curiosity for quite a while.
You know why, Azazel? Because I have absorbed Werner Herzog into my being. That's why I can do his voice rather well. Not perfectly, I'm still working on it, but you know. It's a very distinctive voice. Straight for the rose. Hey, they growing weed! Yeah, imagine all the weed, dude! Dude, if I lived in Antarctica, I'd be blazed all the time. You can imagine that.
We ran into this young man.
Let me put it this way: I'm not going to Antarctica. I'm not going to Antarctica to be productive. All right, I'm not going there to be a cog in the machine. I'm going there to fuck off and do my own thing. So, yeah, where's the weed at?
How did he end up in this place?
Oh yeah, well, you know,
that guy is absolutely a stoner. Just look
at
him.
If you take everybody who's not tied down, they all sort of fall down to the bottom of the planet. So, you know, I haven't been. That's how we got here. You know, we're all at loose ends, and here we are together.
That guy is
when I first got down
absolutely
here, I sort of
blazed right now. Just look at him,
the
mate.
sensation of recognizing people with my tribal markings. You know, I was like, hey, these are my people. PhDs washing dishes
What a sick
and,
gun.
You know, linguists on a continent with no languages, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, specifically, I was in a graduate program.
He's got the weed facial hair. It's like, this is the beard you only grow if you smoke weed every single day. Nah, what a good bloke. Dude, I'd hang out with him, mate.
And we
I'd hang
lined
out
up
with this
to
guy.
do some work with one of the people who was identified as a native speaker and a competent native speaker of one of the languages of the Winnebago people, the Ho-Chunk, I think is how they pronounced it. And
to make a complicated story short, he ran into New Age ideologues who made insipid claims about black and white magic embedded in the grammar of this language.
some of the oral tradition that had been passed along.
Hence, in this stupid trend of academia, it would be better to let the language die than preserve it.
That, you know, I could document a language that I
He had to destroy his entire PhD research.
So just imagine, you know, 90% of languages will be extinct probably in my lifetime. It's a catastrophic impact to an ecosystem to talk about that kind of extinction. Culturally, we're talking about the same thing. I mean, you know, what if you lost all of Russian literature or something like that, or Russian, you know, if you took all of the Slavic languages and just they went away, you know, and no more Tolstoy.
We got English translations of them. You know what? American's enough, brother. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It occurred to me that in the time we spent with him in the greenhouse,
What's Tolstoy? I think he's the newest hero in League of Legends.
possibly 3 or 4 languages had died. In our efforts to preserve endangered species, we seem to overlook something equally important. To me, it is a sign of a deeply disturbed civilization, where tree huggers and whale huggers in their weirdness are acceptable, while no one embraces the last speakers of a language.
You know what? Because it's too hard, all right? It's too hard to learn another language. When I was growing up in Asia, I was forced to learn French for 8 years. You know how much I remember? Merde, which means shit. Okay, that's all I remember. You know why? Because it was a fucking waste of time. There's no reason to learn French when you live in Asia, and there's no reason to learn French when you live in the English-speaking world. It's a fucking waste of time. If you live in China, by all means, learn Chinese. You live in a language where English isn't the main language, by all means, learn that language. But seriously, think in Lord of the Rings, even Smaug gave up and was like, all right, here's the common tongue. Do you understand this? And Bilbo was like, oh, yes, I do. He's like, all right, good, we can converse. Just that's all you fucking need. Okay, life is too short. And it's not even like The Matrix, where you can just plug in for 5 years and be like, I know Chinese, I know French. No, you then have to keep speaking it every single day, or at least a few times a week, or else your brain just forgets it. It's fucking bullshit. Just fuck it. Speak English, motherfucker. And if you're offended by that, good. Good, I'm glad. I hope you are. Let's continue. Oh, it's too hard. It's too hard. Yeah. I know you're smarter than me. You speak 4 languages. Well, you know what? I speak 1. And I speak English better than you speak it. If you speak 4 languages, I guarantee I speak English better than you. All right, so fuck off. Oh, I'm gonna get cancelled, but who
McMurdo
cares?
is full of
Anyway,
characters
so.
like our linguist.
You probably sound like Borat.
The Motel 6 drabness of the corridors is misleading.
Serious. So that's got
Behind
nothing to do
every
with
door,
that's got
there's
nothing to do with Werner
someone with
Herzog.
a special story to tell.
Peak Sebby, my god, I gotta stop.
Back in the 80s, I took a garbage truck across Africa from London to Nairobi. And that was a trip, 4 months in a garbage truck.
When you say you speak 4 languages, that's like saying you have 4 mains in Tekken. Well, you know what? I have 1. And I could fuck up all your 4 mains with my 1. You know why? Because I know that 1 main extremely well. You know, you have a rudimentary understanding of 4 mains. That's why. So, yeah, shut up. Anyway, sorry. I'm so 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 sick of fucking dickheads flexing their 5 languages, but you sound like Borat in every single one. Anyway, let's continue. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
On numerous occasions,
But I'm
we
also
came
not.
pretty close to, I
Pay
don't know
attention to her.
about dying, but pretty close to being in some straits where we didn't know if we were going to get back out of it, you know. We got taken over by the military
Oh, God,
in
it's a
Uganda.
Karen. Nah,
and
she's cool.
We were kidnapped, basically. The truck was turned around.
This woman's story, her life story, is really interesting, and don't ignore everything I just said. her story is really interesting.
We didn't know if we were going to get back out of it. It was horrible. On numerous occasions, we came pretty close to, I don't know about dying, but pretty close to being in some straits where we didn't know if we were going to get back out of it, you know.
She's
we
in
got
Nairobi,
taken over by the military
by this
in
time.
Uganda, and we were kidnapped, basically. The truck was turned around, and we were going back to Entebbe. We got out of that one. We were trying to wait for this ferry in Wadi Halfa, the one that blew up and 800 people died. Well, we didn't get on that one. We took off across the desert, and we got stuck. We got stuck for 5 days of absolute agony of clawing this truck with, we were using plates, did the dinner plates that we were using for dinner, clawing at the tires. We had no water. He had used all the water tanks for gasoline. So basically we had a cup of water a day or 2 cups.
Her story goes on forever.
It's literally like some World of Warcraft story. This woman's just endlessly on quests. Oh, no, she's awesome.
She dealt with a bout of malaria, with a herd of angry elephants pursuing her through tsetse fly-infested swamps. Got caught in a civil war, spent a night in a bombed-out airport with rebels fighting and shooting in a barroom brawl, and was finally rescued by drunk Russian pilots slaloming around crater holes in the runway.
And I tell you what, it just she just sounds like she's getting to max level in Season Discovery. Oh God, she's just doing quests. She's just trying to level up, mate. She's just trying to farm Hercules' rod, or Hercules' rod, whoever the fuck that thing is.
At the so-called freak train event at one of McMurdo's bars, Karen is, not surprisingly, one of the most popular performers. This is her famous travel as hand luggage act.
Oh my God, what a strange person.
Thought of another one.
Yeah.
I traveled from Ecuador to Lima, Peru in a sewer pipe. Forgot to mention that. I hitchhiked once from Denver to Bolivia and back up. And we got a ride from a truck. It was a flatbed truck with 3 huge sewer pipes on the back. So there was days in the back of this truck in a sewer pipe watching the world go by just like that. That's all you could see.
Yeah, she's actually been through all the leveling areas in real life. She's gotten a max level and she's just chilling out in Antarctica, just AFK.
Travel for those
What a
who have been
fascinating
deprived
person.
of freedom means even more.
Oh my goodness.
These are the ones you find in Antarctica. Libor Sicha works as a utility mechanic. He lived like a prisoner behind the Iron Curtain.
You escaped, and how big a drama was that?
Was a drama, but
The tragic events surrounding his escape haunt him to this day.
if we can.
You do not have to talk about it.
Okay. Thank you.
For me, the best description of hunger is a description of bread. A poet said that once, I think. And for me, the best description of freedom is what you have in front of you. You are traveling a lot.
That's right. Yeah.
Show us.
That's my freedom, and I will be glad to show you.
He keeps a rucksack packed and ready to go at all times. Inside is everything he needs to set out in a moment's notice. A sleeping bag, a tent, clothes, cooking utensils.
He's like Ehrenval from FF14.
How much weight is this?
He's like a true nomad.
I usually don't go over 20 kilos. That's my limit, and it's a limit also for airlines.
But that is interesting that whenever he wants.
Some of the contents of his backpack are quite surprising.
Whenever he wants, he can just fuck off literally anywhere, get on any plane, go anywhere in the world, and he knows he can just survive and hack it in any sort of environment or wilderness. Seems like trauma. He actually does seem traumatized from whatever he's been through. It's interesting that he can't bring himself to talk about how he got here, and Werner's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. Next subject. Mana! Welcome in, you fucking dog. Everyone's just here. Everyone here in Antarctica is just hanging out, waiting for the next expansion to drop. He's got a backpack and he can just kayak. He can just.
Can you leave? Oh, I am always ready. My bag is always prepared, and I'm always ready for adventure and explore new horizons.
Fascinating. I mean, this guy's like a legit adventurer. He's an actual player character. Whenever the fuck he wants, he can fuck off, go literally anywhere, fly anywhere, and if there's a river, he can just blow up his bloody kayak he's got in his backpack and just paddle down. What an interesting person, man. And that's why I wanted to show you guys this documentary, because usually whenever you see a doco about Antarctica, it's like, oh, right, okay, the penguin's happy feet. This is not like that. This has an element of that, but it also really, it asks that question, who is the kind of person who chooses to live Antarctica? These are not normal people. How in your life do you decide that of all the things I'm going to do, I'm going to move to Antarctica and live and work there? Yeah, exactly, Solar. So, Satiran.
Back in the days of Amundsen, Scott, and Shackleton, scientific exploration of Antarctica began, and this opening of the unknown continent is their great achievement. But one thing about the early explorers does not feel right. The obsession to be the first one to set his foot on the South Pole.
Oh man, what a time capsule.
It was for personal fame and the glory of the British Empire. This is Shackleton's original hut, preserved unchanged for 100 years.
My God, look at that. Ancient, you know.
But in a way, from
I think that's before Skibbity Toilet.
The South Pole onwards, there was no further expansion possible, and the empire started to fade into the abyss of history.
All that food is just still preserved.
It all looks now like an extinct supermarket.
What do we have? We've got roast veal. We've got minced collops. My God. Compressed corned beef. Ramoni corned beef. My God. I wonder how much Riz he had. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
On a cultural level,
I'm sure he mogged a few seals. All right, I'm going to stop. Okay, no more brain rot. Okay, Jesus.
It meant the end of adventure. Exposing the last unknown spots of this earth was irreversible, but it feels sad that the South Pole or Mount Everest were not left in peace in their dignity.
Yeah. There is something just kind of like, fuck off, people. You know, you'll put your flags here and all that. I know. Look, I'm not being un-American or anti-nationalist here, but at the same time, there's something like, just fuck off. It'd be like if you're playing World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV and you climb up some mountain and there's just like heaps of flags from Orgrimmar and Blackrock and, Limsa Lamenta. It's like, oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Let me just appreciate this fantasy landscape. So
were not left in peace in their dignity. It may be a futile wish to keep a few white spots on our maps, but human adventure, in its original sense, lost its meaning, became an issue for the Guinness Book of World Records.
No.
Scott and Amundsen were clearly early protagonists, and from there on it degenerated into absurd quests. A Frenchman crossed the Sahara Desert in his car set in reverse gear, and I'm waiting for the first barefoot runner on the summit of Everest, or the first one hopping into the South Pole on a pogo stick.
He sounds like someone saying like, all right, so you hit Dark Souls? Did you do it on a dance mat? Did you do it on a Guitar Hero controller? Did you do it blindfolded? It's like, wait, you looked at the screen, use your hands? That's like a baby. It's like, oh, fuck off. What's the fucking point of doing anything anymore? You know what I mean? It's just, oh, you're the best in the world at that game. But are you the best on a dance mat? Did you wear the helmet where you play the game with your mind? It's just, oh, fuck off. It just becomes a stupid-ass competition. And at the end of the day, it's like, all right, great work, congratulations. Now go outside for God's sake, because I know you haven't seen the sun for like 3 months if you were able to do that. It's just, at least these guys get outside. Unlike you. You know who you are. Titanic with a PlayStation controller? Oh, God, yeah, exactly. What's up, Wolf Spirit? Oh, yeah, you can't do Everest barefoot, but I'm sure someone's going to try now that he said it. But anyway, let's fuck off. Let's do this.
Well, I had this idea of breaking a Guinness record in air.
Oh, no, he's real. I'm sorry, whoever you are. I thought you were a meme.
And Antarctica would be the 6th. So now I'm trying to think of a way to get to Antarctica.
Ashrita Furman did not want to travel this way because he already holds a Guinness record in this discipline. And also in this one. So he decided upon the more prosaic approach and took an airplane.
We flew down to Antarctica. Anyway, it was thrilling because I'm in Antarctica and I'm trying to break a Guinness record. Being in Antarctica is like being on the moon. It's so, I mean, it's so peaceful, it's so pure, it's desolate. I mean, it's just a great place.
I feel like there's some Guinness Book of Records, though, where you could win them just because no one's thought of doing this before. Like, I reckon I could hold the Guinness World Book of Records for doing the Mandeville dance from FF14 the most times in the row. If all I did was this, and then that, and then that, and then that, and then that, I don't know, like 100 times in the row on camera. No one else in the world has done that, and then bam, I'm famous. I just, is it even really worth it? Not to diminish this guy's accomplishments, but I also don't give a shit. Oh, Barney, welcome back.
Antarctica is not the moon, even though sometimes it feels like it.
Anyway.
Yet, on this planet, McMurdo comes closest to what a future space settlement would look like.
This is my favorite part of the whole doco.
We left McMurdo for the penguin colony at Cape Royds. Everyone spoke about penguins. However, the questions I had were not so easily answered. I was referred to a penguin expert out there who had studied them for almost 20 years. I was told that he was a taciturn man who in his solitude was not much into conversation with humans anymore. But Dr. Ainley gave his best effort.
Well, here we are at Cape Royds. This is 2006, and it's just about the 100th anniversary of the first penguin study that was ever done, which was done here at Cape Royds by a person that was part of the Shackleton expedition.
This is such a funny bird, man.
They're all had a good winter and they're very fat. They've claimed their territories and eggs have been laid and females have left. And now there's just males that are sitting on eggs, using their fat reserves and waiting for females to return to relieve them and then go to sea.
I tried to keep the conversation going. Dr. Ainley, I read somewhere that there are gay penguins. What are your observations?
I've never...
Well, strange sexual behavior. Can you talk about...
It's,
what is this, the French Olympics? I'm sorry, I'll stop.
I've seen triangular relationships where there's one female and two males, and the female lays the egg and or eggs, and the males and the female trade off over the season. There are misidentities initially.
Wait, are you telling me there's cock penguins? Are you telling me there's some soy penguins out there? Oh, that's great. You telling me some of these penguins have a wife's boyfriend? Anyway, sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, this is not the reaction you wanted to see, but anyway, we'll continue.
Of the sex of penguins. Somebody recently described what they call prostitution, where a female who is out collecting rocks for a nest, and of course, some penguins are the only way they.
You know what I love about penguins is they Naruto run naturally with their arms out, but they just move heaps slowly. Like, look how. It's like the crappiest Naruto run you've ever seen. It's like a really low effort Naruto run, like what he's about to do.
A female who is out collecting rocks for a nest. Of course, some penguins are the only way they collect rocks is to steal it from others. So in order to do that, they have
I love
to be
him.
very submissive
What a fucking funny bird.
in order to get close to a male who's maybe advertising for a mate, and so she'll come in sit in his nest, and sometimes they'll copulate, but eventually, really her idea is to get a rock, and so as soon as she can, she escapes with the rock.
Women, am I right?
Dr. Ainley, is there such thing as insanity among penguins? I try to avoid a definition of insanity or derangement. I don't mean that a penguin might believe he or she is Lenin or Napoleon Bonaparte. But could they just go crazy because they've had enough of their colony?
Well, I've never seen a penguin bashing its head against a rock.
Yeah.
The last field camp,
I hate to admit how much I feel like I relate with the penguin, but I think a lot of you guys probably do as well. I mean, after all, that's why we're here on Twitch at the end of the internet. You know, just sitting here on a Wednesday night or Thursday night, whatever it is, watching me watch a Werner Herzog documentary about Antarctica. But I do love this. If you ever watch the video, there's a video on YouTube that's just that 2-minute segments about the penguin. And the comments section is fucking hilarious. It's just like,
why did the penguin cross the road to die alone and unremembered?
So, anyway, let's continue with this.
Visited was at Mount Erebus. This active volcano is 12,500 feet high. It is of particular importance as inside the crater the magma of the inner Earth is directly exposed.
And when you're on the crater is that the lava lake could explode at any time. And if it does, it's vital to keep your attention faced toward the lava lake and watch for bombs that are tracking up into the air.
Yeah, yes, just look out for the bombs that have a long look over the bombs that have a long frame wind up. You can probably step out of the way of a 30-frame bomb. As with the 10-frame bombs, you're probably just gonna get hit, so it's fine. This is horrible. Oh my God.
We were fortunate that the lava lake was not enshrouded in mist this day. This here is the new observation camera.
You might want to Korean backdash away from those
bombs.
bombs.
Is the leader of the team of volcanologists here.
This camera, designed for prison riots or to be explosion-proof, and it's coated with this thick Teflon housing. Here's the lens here. This is a camera. The camera inside is made by a small company in Canada, Extreme CCTV. The inside housing is specifically designed for to be explosion-proof. Oh, there's a bang from the lava lake right now. No bombs, though.
This is the magma lake filmed 30 years ago. At that time, there was a bold attempt to descend into the crater.
Natural selection manner, I know, right? If you ever wonder why men live less long than women, it's because we do shit like this. We climb into volcanoes because we're curious. Oh, God.
Halfway down, there is a plateau. From there, it is a gaping hole straight down into the magma.
This is heaps intense, man. What's up, Ms. Zeb? Look at those rocks I can mine. Look at all that crafting I could do.
They were in for near disaster.
Yeah, just Dark Souls roll down it. It's fine. This guy's too chill for this shit. I feel like if you did this all the time, you would just kind of be blasé about it at the end, so...
The magma exploded, striking one of the climbers who got away with minor injuries.
Oh my God! Just got hit by the magma.
Today, the lava is monitored by Dr. McIntosh's camera.
You just need a bucket of water. Oh my God. He just needs the diamond pickaxe. Then he can go deeper.
Dr. Clive Oppenheimer, a true Englishman from Cambridge University, surprised us with his tweed outfit, which he wears as a tribute to the explorers of old. He analyzes gas emissions from volcanoes all over the world.
If this were one of those active volcanoes in Indonesia, I'd be far more circumspect about standing on the crater rim. This is a very benign form of volcanism. And even the eruptions we've seen in the historic period are relatively minor affairs. If we go back into the geological record, we see that there are huge volcanic eruptions, massive explosive eruptions that produced thousands of cubic miles of pumice, showering large parts of the earth with fine ash. And
to be fair, though, I mean, next to Indonesia, all other volcanoes are weak. Like, Krakatoa's explosion is supposed to be like what? Like 10,000 nuclear bombs worth of an explosion. It's like something inconceivable. It is inconceivable how big the infamous Krakatoa explosion was, which you can Wikipedia. I'm not going to look it up now. It's too hard. Also, welcome in Scorpion. Flying Ping. Minor. Yeah, you know, just a minor hit from a volcano. So, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. Yes, that is Oppenheimer. So
these have been demonstrated to have had a strong impact on climate. And one of the biggest of these events, 74,000 years ago, has been argued even to have affected our human ancestors and may have played an important role in the origins and dispersal of early humans.
They do argue that there was some massive apocalyptic event, something like, oh God, I don't know, 80,000 years ago, a really long time ago, that nearly decimated the human population, but that also turned our evolution, like the gas, into overdrive, and then we evolved really fast. Now, that's all bullshit, okay? Obviously, the Earth is like 400 years old, but you know, just playing by the Biden-Harris official sphere-cut globe-tard official story, I think that's what they say.
Events will recur, and I think the more we understand about them, the better we can prepare for their eventuality.
Exactly. So
for this and many other reasons, our presence on this planet does not seem to be sustainable. Our technical civilization makes us particularly vulnerable. There is talk all over the scientific community about climate change. Many of them agree the end of human life on this Earth is assured.
No, haven't you seen Horizon Zero Dawn? We'll be fine. I mean, you know, we'll lose a lot of technology, but there'll be robot dinosaurs. It'll be cool. It'll be 4K. It'll be 60 frames.
Human life is part of an endless chain of catastrophes, the demise of the dinosaurs being just one of these events. We seem to be next.
Sounds like a skill issue.
And when we are gone,
just
what will happen thousands of years from now in the future? Will there be alien archaeologists from another planet trying to find out what we were doing at the South Pole?
Will be interesting, right? Will we end up being like the Nomai in Outer Wilds, and Country Bumpkin four-eyed aliens come here in their wooden spaceships and try and figure out who we are and what we were doing?
Into the tunnels that we had dug deep under the pole.
Will they win BAFTAs?
It is still minus 70 degrees here, and that's why this place has outlived all the large cities in the world. They walk on and on.
Optimistic?
And then this. As if we had wanted to leave one remnant of our presence on this planet, they would find a frozen sturgeon, mysteriously hidden away beneath the mathematically precise true South Pole.
Well, you know, it's like Pokemon. A supervolcano in Indonesia erupted and the whole world was covered in ashes for 10 years straight. Yeah, it's really, like, interesting to look at. The Ice Age 12,000 years ago, that's a rabbit hole like nothing else. Primal, yeah. Obviously just Sephiroth in that crater, in that volcano, so, yeah.
They stash it back away into its frozen shrine for another eternity. And then they find more memories of a world once green. As if the human race wanted to preserve at least some lost beauty of this earth, they left this, framed in a garland of frozen popcorn.
That is very Outer Wilds when you think about it.
Back at the base camp of Mount Erebus. Due to the considerable altitude, once in a while the volcanologists need medical care. But soon we find them back at work.
Yeah, they're just playing Death Stranding in real life. Is this old or recorded on a bad camera? It's 360p. Look, it's on YouTube, all right? It's free, okay? It's free. It's fine. I'm walking here. But yeah, that was the only way I can probably legally do this on Twitch. Maybe. I think so. It's on YouTube, all right? Sue YouTube. Sue YouTube for this, not me. So. No, this actually got like Academy Award nominations. This was very, very highly reviewed back when usually people you could actually take their words on. It was a very different world back then. Our record preserving technology is advancing at an astonishing pace. Should be a pretty easy time if they discover us. We should. I don't know. I feel like human records could survive quite a while. We can make shit last a pretty long time. Yeah. Yeah, this is from the time before everything was algorithmed and gaslit and manipulated into the fucking ground. Oh, but that's not how things are.
Quite cold up here today.
You're crazy for thinking that. You're crazy.
It's R18, okay?
Along the slopes of the volcano, there are vents where steam creates so-called fumaroles, bizarre chimneys of ice, sometimes reaching 2 stories in height. It is possible to descend into some of them.
Hateful.
You only have to be careful to avoid the ones containing toxic gases.
Is that like ghost matter in Outer Wilds? I should call her, you disgust me. Mako poisoning. Oh, God. Just play the reactor music here. There's movies where artists try to replicate sets like this beauty. Yeah. Hard to recreate the real thing, though. But you can make stuff that's inspired by this. This place just ripped off FF7 in the Northern Crater. This is just the beginning of Disc 1. Sorry, Disc 2. But it is the natural beauty is just insane. So unusual. Yeah, so at the end of this raid, there's a boss and he drops a pretty good dagger, some pretty blue gloves. If you're lucky, he drops a legendary staff. But he might have some difficulty because it's just him, DPS and tank. I'm sorry. I've been playing too many MMOs. I gotta stop. Sorry. I gotta stop making these jokes. This is when Star Wars was good. That was a long time ago. Yeah, Luke back in the 70s. So... As you can see, they have a day and night cycle here too. 16 times the detail. Just works. I'm sorry I played too many games. I gotta... oh, fuck. I'm sorry, Evan. I'm sorry, Whiskey Brain. I've only had 4.
At the foot of Erebus, out on the sea ice, the 2 tallest buildings on this continent are located. In these hangars, scientific payloads are being readied for their balloon launch into the stratosphere.
Got it memorized. No healer.
We were interested in a neutrino detection project. Scientists are planning to lift an observation instrument 40 kilometers up into the stratosphere in search of almost undetectable subatomic particles. As it rises, this small-looking bubble of helium will expand to fill the entire skin, which here still looks like a white rope.
Yes, I know. It looks like a giant upside down reverse ball sack. All right, I know what you're all thinking.
Diameter.
I'll just say it out loud. All right, all right.
When it reaches the stratosphere,
looks like a scrotum.
The detector will scan thousands of square miles of ice without encountering electrical disturbances from the inhabited world. Prior to the launch, we were inside the hangar.
I'm not wrong.
The neutrino project is led by Dr. Gorham of the University of Hawaii.
So, what we're trying to do with this instrument is to be the first scientific group to detect the highest energy neutrinos in the universe, we hope.
Yeah, but Dr. Gorham, what exactly is a neutrino?
The neutrino it's the most ridiculous particle you could imagine. A billion neutrinos went through my nose as we were talking. A trillion of them went through my nose just now. And they did nothing to me. They passed through all of the matter around us continuously in a huge, huge blast of particles that does nothing at all. They're like they almost exist in a separate universe, but we know as physicists we can measure them, we can make precision predictions and measurements. They exist, but we can't get our hands on them because they seem to just exist in another place. And yet, without neutrinos, the beginning of the universe would not have worked. We would not have the matter that we have today because you couldn't create the elements without the neutrinos. In the very, very earliest few seconds of the Big Bang, the neutrinos were the dominant particle, and they actually determined much of the kinetics of the production of the elements we know. So the universe can't exist the way it is without the neutrinos, but they seem to be in their own separate universe, and we're trying to actually make contact with that.
Sounds like Nomura trying to explain Kingdom Hearts. I'm sorry.
Otherworldly universe of neutrinos. And as a
this makes more sense in Kingdom Hearts. So I'm sorry. That was a bit mean.
Physicist, even though I understand it mathematically and I understand it intellectually, it still hits me in the gut that there is something here surrounding me, almost like some kind of spirit or God that I can't touch, but I can measure it. I can make a measurement. It's like measuring the spirit world or something like that. You can go out and touch these things.
Not surprisingly, we found this incantation in Hawaiian language on the side of his detector. It was as if spirits had to be invoked. What would we see if we could film the impact of a neutrino?
What you would see is you would see a lightning bolt about 10 meters long, about that thick, and it would blast at the speed of light over this 10-meter distance, and you would see the most beautiful blue light your eyes have ever seen. It happens in about the entire...
Yeah, it'd be Shiva. It'd be like a diamond dust move from like FF7 or FF8.
Entire impulse of radio waves is up and down in probably 1/100 billionth of a second. It just goes bang, and it's gone. And that's what we're looking for.
That's that music sounds like this. Oh, wow, look great. Oh my god, that's so dumb. Anyway, let's continue. We'll finish this off. We're nearly at the end. The two best parts. One is the sounds the seals make, which you can hear right now here. But I think the penguin is absolutely the best part of the entire documentary. That 2 minutes alone justifies its entire production. Yeah, you know, it's not exactly a non-stop roller coaster, okay? It doesn't have a lot of skibbity toilet, okay? You won't see any Fortnite flossing, Orange Justice dancing, Ohio mogging Rizzlers in that, but I still think it's worth saying. I still think it's got valuable information. I think it's a good little meditation on life, the universe, and everything. And yeah, I don't know, you get a good insight. It's kind of considered the most accessible insight into Werner Herzog's mind. Now you go really deep and interesting when you get to Grizzly Man. Cave of Forgotten Dreams is quite good. I think Grizzly Man's his best one. Raytheon payrolled this? Who is Raytheon? Should I know who that is? Wait, is that... What, Raytheon? What, from Dragonflight? You tell me World of Warcraft, Raytheon payrolled this. Did Alex Straza payroll this as well? Who else is there? Oh, he's a big defense contractor? Oh, is that a bad thing? They make bombs and weapons? Well, we saw a bomb in there. They dynamited that hole. So, you know, nothing out of the ordinary. They make nukes, jets, and missiles. They also made this. So, I don't know, man. I don't know these companies. Oh, there you go, Link. You learned something. Hope you fucking shame yourself. So, they didn't even know what neutrinos did at this point. Neutrinos are a very... Look, I'm not a physicist, man. I'm an actor. Not a chemist or a biologist or a physicist. I don't know this shit. What's up, Lolox? Yeah, the Tibetan throat singing. It's good shit. So, they did say that, Lex Mortis. They did say a military defense contractor handled a lot of logistics around this documentary and this whole base and stuff. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's what's fun to get. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for enjoying the Werner Herzog documentary special of Sebbywebz TV. That was Encounters at the End of the World. I hope you all learned something. I hope you reflected on life, the universe, and everything. I hope you had a good long think about yourself.